Here, I'll invite you up, Diza.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
hello.
trying to find a quiet spot with a good view for this call.
Yeah,
Wise
so
idea.
you're driving up a mountain, or you drove up a mountain?
Yeah, I'm on an island in Greece and climbing a mountain. You got me
Wow.
Oh my
midway. I
gosh,
like
that's
pulled up on
awesome.
the wrong side of the road, and yeah, but we're here.
Awesome. The
I'm just gonna
Godfather,
mute,
welcome.
I'm just gonna mute myself for a sec.
Okay, for sure.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Good to meet you.
welcome. Yes, welcome, and very nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Very
likewise.
excited for our cross-chain chat today. We're gonna wait a couple minutes for everyone to kind of filter in, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting topic. I understand that you wanted some of the greatest minds in the industry to come and talk about it.
That's very true.
Unfortunately, you just
Well
get me.
chosen. Oh.
Yeah, no, it was
I
professionally sourced, so we only choose the best.
Us British are far too self-deprecating to call ourselves the greatest minds or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
it's
reading this cross-chain chat, and I love we plan to ask the hardest questions. Get your wallet's seed phrase ready.
yeah. So
That's
surprise!
awesome.
If you guys didn't know, we're gonna be all sharing wallet seed phrases today. So that's our special
I'll
event
give
at
you-
the end.
I'll give you all the multi-sig export keys too. How's that sound?
Oh, dude, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna ask for that as a bonus, but now that you offered
Yeah.
it, thank you.
Sharing
Atlas is
is
over
not
here freaking
sharing.
out.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the recording bot all set up. Give me a moment here. They join and the AMA stage. Yeah, this Craig bot is absolutely fantastic. If you guys don't use it, I'd recommend using it. But I think MDB when you guys were doing that poker event, you had in the Craig bot.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing rocks. But it does this thing where if you don't talk for like 12 to 15 seconds, it says it's still recording, but then it decides to chop out. So I don't think we're gonna have that today. But in previous AMAs a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, that may have happened like once or twice. So always like to mention that. So Diza, let me know when you're ready and we can get started.
I think we're good.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll do the little intro bit for everybody, and we can hop in. So, hey everybody, welcome to our fourth cross-chain chat. Today is September 10th. My name is the Cletosaurus, and I'll be co-hosting today with Diza. For those of you who've been tuning into our previous chats, thanks for tuning back in. And for any new listeners, the format of these cross-chain chats is very loose. We'll discuss many topics in the DeFi space. These podcasts are meant for bringing communities together in a fun, interesting, and productive conversation. The audience is encouraged to weigh in, and we'll be doing a giveaway at the end of the chat. So today's cross-chain chat is going to be really fun. We'll be joined by the Godfather from MDB, Will from 100 Days Ventures, and our very own founder and lead dev, Atlas from Printer Financial. So with that, we can have each project give about a 1-minute background introduction, a about themselves, and then we can hop into the chat here. So, Godfather, would you like to go first?
Oh, the pressure! I wanted to see
Oh,
what
yeah.
everyone else's introduction was like. I did 3 AMAs yesterday, so I feel so introductioned out. I'm gonna
Oh,
give
you are warmed up.
this is going to be the best one ever. So look, a brief introduction. If anybody here doesn't know who MDB is, I think I'm looking. There's a few new faces here. So MDB anyway, in a nutshell. So maybe me first. So my name's Danny. I am Doxed. The name of the Godfather, by the way, is not a reflection of how I see myself. There's a long story behind it, a community vote and all sorts. And so my background, actually, this is my first and my full intention is for it to be my last ever crypto project. My background, sort of broad background in business. I've worked for several Fortune 500 companies at senior level. I've worked in quite progressive industries for the last sort of 7 or 8 years. So I've worked in energy and sustainability. I ran an electric vehicle charging business across a few countries. I worked in the additive manufacturing space, specifically around business operation software, and that was more in a startup environment. And plenty of time operating around sort of investment circles, and been fascinated by sort of blockchain, crypto, and DeFi generally over that time. Could see that it has huge potential to bring people together and be very efficient and create wealth for people as well, potentially. But quite often that potential isn't realised. And really, MDB is the product of, it's a system that's built on something that we call capital synergy. It's got some clever tokenomics within it, has a taxation system, but then it has a fund that backs the liquidity, and it works in this particular mechanism. And so it means that the token has both a security function within it in terms of having a rising floor, but then also it also has this engine behind it that's always burning supply and also feeding the liquidity pool as well over time. So I won't go through all the complexities because I don't want to take up too much time, but you can stake, you can farm those tokens. It's like I say, it's purely deflationary. We will never mint another MDB token into existence. And then we have a couple of other assets. So we're just about to launch our 4th token, actually. So we've got MDB was the first one, which is like the mother token, if you like. And then we launched 2 stable-backed assets. One of them is very, very low taxes and can only appreciate in value. That's called MDB Plus, and that has lots of utility options. 40% of our LP is actually paired to MDB Plus, one of our secrets of success over the last few months as the market's been difficult. And then we have Phoenix Plus, which is an aggressive version of that, slightly higher taxes, APY much higher. And then Phoenix Plus will actually be the LP pair for our 4th and final token of this phase, which is Infinity, which launches on the 18th. And the reason why Amina has got me, almost, I feel like I've taken over from the Queen the last week because I'm turning up to open every new building and sports centre to get our names out there. But in all seriousness, Infinity is a much more aggressive token, something that doesn't exist. Everything in our ecosystem is fairly, everything's grown since we've launched it. MDB itself has performed really, really well in a difficult market, but Infinity will have underlying security and a growth trajectory over time that will go from bottom left to top right, but it will have huge volatility on that journey as well. Very low taxes, huge volatility means that it's open for trading, or you can just buy it at a good price, stake it, and then earn MDB as reward. So that's sort of the big thing that we've got coming in the next week. So sorry for taking up too much time, but that's kind of MDB and us in a nutshell.
Oh, no worries at all. No, that's very, very interesting, and I want to get into some more details about what you guys got going on further on into this chat. So it's super, super cool what you guys got going on.
Thank you.
Will from 100 Days, wanna go next?
Welcome. Well, it's a bit hard to follow up after something like that. That was a probably good solid 3 minutes of just steady talking about the one of the kingpins around here. But the other kingpin in DeFi at the moment is the one and only 100 Days Ventures. So what we are is the launch pad for businesses to come into crypto. That's what we're doing, and with that, we plan to be a major kingpin and a major place for everyone in DeFi to come and earn rewards. And one of the ways we're doing that is with our revenue sharing vaults. It's one of the first ideas we pitched while having rebases. As we knew rebases were temporary. They were great. It was a phase in DeFi, but we're transitioning away from that. We are going to a deflationary contract next week. We have an NFT marketplace coming out, which will be our first source of revenue, partnered with Little Orbit, a AAA gaming company. Then we have our revenue sharing vaults coming out end of October. We have a real estate platform, which is going to be bringing in a substantial amount of money each year. We have a F1 platform partnership, and we have a sports gaming partnership. All real world applications that are going to help us bring real world revenue to DeFi. And those are only to name the few that are public, with varying amounts of companies that are still in the works. So if you know, and it's just a matter of time where we're building in the background during this bear market, and things are going to continue to slowly pick up, and we're truly going to prove and truly going to tell everyone that we are the business launchpad for crypto, and that's us.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. You guys also have a lot going on, and that F1 platform. I heard that. I didn't know this, but apparently F1 is very, very big around the world. It's not as big in the United States, but
Yeah.
in Europe and everywhere
Yeah.
else, it's the number one growing sport, I guess, or racing. But yeah, we can get more into that later. It's definitely something that I want to discuss as well. Last but not least, Atlas, you give us a background about yourself as well.
Hello. I don't think I could talk that long about myself. So it might be a little bit shorter than the first two. But yeah, my name's Atlas, founder of Printer Financial. So welcome to our Discord. I guess a lot of the audience probably already knows me, but yeah, my experience is in enterprise, startups, that sort of thing. I've been doing technology for decades now, operations, security, everything but front end. I have to say that's my Achilles heel. Got into crypto. I think first purchase was $65 for Bitcoin. So been in crypto a while. DeFi about 2 years now. And yeah, a lot of opportunity in the space. And one of the major things that I seen was, I guess, the whole spirit of these cross-chain chats and Printer Financial as a whole is to kind of unify the blockchains, because we see all these different chains popping up, and a lot have good technology, and a lot have different tweaks, different strengths, different weaknesses. And when projects can harness multiple chains, that adds a sort of arbitrage or hedging or security, removes single points of failures. We've all seen blockchains fail. We've seen stables depeg. So kind of my mission here in DeFi has been from the start to break down the barriers between chains. And that's what I hope to continue to be able to do for a long time.
That's a very fantastic mission, and something that we're also gonna be discussing today with the future of crypto, future of blockchains, and where they're gonna be heading. So I guess first I want to start off these chats with talking about our corner of the DeFi universe. We've seen many projects building out their own ecosystems, from launching additional tokens with different utility to each, to NFT marketplaces, and so on. We've also seen projects start to focus more on partnerships, and wanted to pose this to everybody. And from your guys' perspectives, do you see the future DeFi being more with projects focusing on their own internal ecosystems, or do you think we'll start to see maybe even some mergers where projects combine into one to be one big conglomerate project?
Can I take this one?
Oh no, okay.
Oh,
So everyone can take any question. This is like an open
gotcha.
conversation for everybody. So like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, Will, if you say something, Atlas is like, hey, well, I think it's this way, or you start
Yeah,
building
yeah,
on each
yeah,
other. It's a very very open
yeah.
ended, very just lax. But yeah. So go right ahead.
I think from MDB angle, are you guys part of the On-Chain Alliance?
We
Correct me if I'm
are,
wrong.
we are, yes.
Ah, gotcha. Because I remember talking to Brent from the Rebellion, because I'm talking with him with a secret little partnership behind the scenes, and he mentioned the On-Chain Alliance, as we did a couple AMAs back. And again, it's the whole notion of together, standing as a mountain, you stand stronger than a small hill. So I find it interesting. It's not a bad idea, especially in times like this.
Mm. I think yeah, I'm never short of an opinion. I think if coming into this market from other industries, I think the market's heavily saturated. And I think whenever liquidity is harder to come by, then it's a real test of how much value an organization is really creating on its own 2 feet. And
Mm.
I think that's why ultimately, I think one of the strengths of the crypto space is how dynamic it is and how easy it is for. I say easy, but the barrier to entry is relatively low versus other industries. But that also lends itself to dilution and quite often a lack of standards as well. I think in terms of teams, the way they manage, the reputations, the consequences for their actions. And yeah, so I think the space is going through a natural consolidation now. And I think the natural consolidation is, I think, quite luckily after the last few months, I think what we've seen is investors are starting to become more and more educated. But at the same time, I think the challenge is that crypto has probably become, in the last few months, certainly less attractive to more educated investors. And I think that's a challenge that needs to be overcome. So I think there's a bit of a process that the industry needs to go through. And the more good projects there are that deliver genuine return on investment rather than just hype and moonboy stuff, then the more innovation there'll be in the space, and then there's more capital because but I could probably go on all day about this topic, but I think in crypto and certainly DeFi has there's just so many there's almost like a cliche roadmap that I could just write in 5 minutes now, which includes I won't even say, because I don't want to offend anybody, but everyone knows what they are, right? It's like cookie cutter, like everybody's got a
Yeah.
debt and everyone's got this token launch pad and everyone, and now we've got what can I put as a service on the end of any word, wardrobes as a service. It's just, and we've even got to the point when we're launching something new. So we've got our own real world ambitions. And I was on an AMA yesterday and someone said, can you tell me how that would work? And I said, no. And they said, what do you mean you won't tell us? And I said, because my experience has shown that we think really hard about something, we plan for it, we put capital aside, we bring in people and resources, and a week into being public about it after working really hard, there's three or four other people saying they're going to do the same thing when they couldn't even do the last thing that they did, quite frankly. Let alone do what you've been thinking about and preparing, for months, and you've got decades of real life experience behind you. But they're just gonna, and that's the difficulty within the space. So I think there's a maturity piece that needs to happen from a project owner perspective. But I think that's mirrored in the investors as well. I think investors and projects have been stuck in this dance where they're afraid of each other. Look at all charts post launch. Probably 95% of charts go down quickly. So project owners don't trust these so-called investors that are looking to whitelist flip. People that are getting into projects early don't trust the projects. And yeah, so I think there's a real journey that the industry has to go on, both from an investor and also a project leader perspective, for it to be taken seriously by people that have got real money, if I'm honest.
I do agree with that, and I also would also agree with the market being primed to kind of weed out all of those projects that may not be as strong or may not, those moon boy type projects. And I think, unfortunately, what we see in the news, what the masses see are more of these moon boy Shibas or whatever projects that are more clickbaity. So I think that yes, maturity coming into the market and also this cooling off period, the down market to let a lot of other projects get exposure that they may not have in the chaos of a bull run is a really good sign for the future, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what the answer is as well, by the way, Atlas. I think, this we could go down a rabbit hole with this conversation because, I think from a business perspective, okay, well, if you've got an industry where there's a lack of trust and maybe investors need more information, in the UK, you have something called Trust a Trader, right? You want to book a trader, you can see what other people have said about them, but we already have that and it's completely corrupt. It's completely corrupt. You go on to like CoinMarketCap and read the comments, and it's like people that are given crayons if they go to Pizza Hut. So it's just I don't know what the answers are to get out of it. You try and list on major, some of these major organizations, and your only way of getting listed is by paying an intermediary. So that's what I mean when I say, actually, it's very easy to point fingers at certain groups within the industry, but coming in from the outside, I'm like, whoa, it's like there's this whole dance between the organizations, even the people that are meant to inform investors. They're all just stuck in this, it's a very strange industry, I'll be honest.
I almost think that it was when DeFi came to fruition it was good at the time, but it's poised us to be in a poor situation for the long term. Think about it. So everyone came to DeFi with the hopes of getting that, that 100x. And as much as I hate to say it, that sphere 150x that it didn't really, as much as it was good, it didn't really help the market because it's just given everyone so much hopium. And so it attracted such a plethora of degens that the space was just riddled with them. And again, no fault of our own. It's just we attracted it. And so now it's just the process of slowly weeding out, the weak people who are here just for the gains and not for the long-term benefits. But the reality is a lot of them are degens. So it's taking a long time to do it. We'll get through it. We'll come out the other side and there'll be greener grass. But again, it's just going to take that time. And it's during this time where we plan, evaluate, and get ready. So when we have a new wave of proper investors, the old money, I like to say, where they're a bit wiser, a bit more educated, then we'll really be able to understand and really go for that next step. But for now, it's, as you said, it's a contractionary period with the whole world economy. We've just got to sit tight, keep doing what we're doing, try our best. But again, just realize it's no fault of our own. It's just the space as a whole is saturated, as you said.
I want to sort of tap into what the Godfather and Will just said then. Firstly, will there always be space for the snake oil traders on the side, going for the hopium? And at the same time, onto what the Godfather said in terms of people always looking for the roadmap, is there always going to be a project that's there to just copycat one, see what they can do, and then things happen, maybe nothing happens? Where do we go from here? Do some projects take the step up and break away?
I'd say so. I'd say you can only live with this model for so long. Because for a while, it was more degen projects than real projects. But as we're seeing with this bear, a lot of those degen projects have disappeared. So I'm sure, as the Godfather would agree, we're slowly transitioning to where the projects that are here are actually working behind the scenes, getting things done and not really just riding on that hype moon boy sort of stuff anymore.
I'll also add to the copycats. It's so easy to do a copycat on anything blockchain. That's kind of the feature of that. But it's the teams that came up with the original idea, the teams that were motivated to do the inception, the teams with that vision that I think has an advantage over the copycats. So I don't think they're that big of a threat. But it's definitely you definitely do see some cannibalization of good ideas into some bigger protocols that already do have that team. But I don't really see how we can get away with that other than always be building.
Yeah, and to add to that, Atlas, we've seen that the teams that are ahead, and I guess that are the true innovators in this space, they're always going to be one step ahead of the copycat projects. Like for example, I guess all these Tomb Forks where we had Tomb Fork season, projects were popping up right and left, and they were all just copies of one project. And I don't know but personally, I don't know what Tomb is doing right now. But just in a broader sense, all these copycat projects, if all they're going to be doing is just copying other projects, they're not going to be actually innovating anything because they don't have maybe they don't have that innovative mindset where they're just trying to be snake oil salesmen or something. So, um, the Godfather or Danny, he said something really interesting, and I do want to touch on this. He said that crypto is now less attractive to more educated investors. Was curious if you could go into more detail on that. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, if you ask people on the street, I'll give an example. There's a friend of mine that I run with. He's a finance director of a very multi tens of billion turnover business, and he said, "Oh, I was he's not really he's not an investor in crypto." And he said, I met somebody at a party the other day, and his job is just to invest in crypto for an institution. I said, "All right." I said, "Did he have anything to say?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Don't go anywhere near it." And
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
and that's really sad, right? When
Yeah.
you see the possibilities of an industry and the possibilities of the technology, and of course the technology has a huge power to disrupt the status quo as it is today. So that's quite sad. But then if you look at the facts, right? If you did a blockchain analysis of every project that's launched in the last 6 months, and you listed numbers of wallets that were up and numbers of wallets that were down in numbers of wallets, the difference between the two would be absolutely significant. So I'm not sure what the solution is to that, but I think you don't want to be too critical of your own industry, because I wouldn't be here unless I thought it had a huge potential. But at the same time, I think if you don't start being honest with yourselves, and maybe yourself, some of these projects themselves as well, but they don't care, quite frankly. So I think the power is really with projects that can tread a path that set an example. And I have thought, if I had any capacity, you could maybe set up a statistics website where you drop in a contract address, and rather than things like Token Sniffer. I remember being first time I ever saw Token Sniffer. The first 4 contracts I put in there, it said all of them were going to be a rug. So after pumping in a few contract addresses, I established that wasn't a reliable source of information.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking that this is a scam. and that, I think that's the irony of what we're dealing with. I think if you have something that could just give people like the raw facts, the raw data, and then once you've got data, not hopium, copium, hype, and then you can actually use that raw data at a macro level, comparing different projects and statistics over time. Not just a chart is an awful indicator of any project. Then you know, like a great question would be, I always say, like, how much money, you know, in the real business world, you stand up in front of investors and you say, right, I want you guys to give me $3 million, and I'm going to keep half of it, and then I'm going to put $1.5 million into the business, and then we're going to see where it goes, right? That nobody would invest in you in a million years, but people are just cookie cuttering that over and over again within DeFi. It's absolute lunacy, right? So I think there's probably a set of standards that you could maybe focus on. You know, if you focus on data and shining a light on that data, then people would be able to ask, you know, does it, rather than, you know, tell me what's wrong with this, maybe tell me what's right with certain projects, and then do some critical analysis of the data, the holders, the performance, and then league table that, and then that helps to inform investors. And then that becomes, you know, a reliable source of information that is undeniable. It's a presentation of the facts, not, you know, speculating. I think there's some websites that say that MDB, do not touch it. So straight away, if you've been in MDB for the last 4 months and you're having a great time, you understand the protocol, you're never going to use that website again. So I think the answer is trying to get down to sort of like a standard set of metrics at a macro level that people can use and make sensible decisions. I think few projects would probably be behind a movement like that. I don't think it's something that's going to come from the projects, but I think that could be a good start.
I think what we have to realize, Danny, is that people in DeFi don't buy on the data. They don't buy on logic. They buy on emotion. They buy on emotion and they justify with logic. And if there's anything I've learned, it is that single factor that has propelled this degen community. Everyone is grappling on and just gripping that last ounce and drip of hope, right? They're hoping that they can just get that last 100x and then leave. So they just perpetually continue to stay and then justify it with logic. But we need to change that from going from logic to emotion. So you start with you justify with logic and you finish with emotion, not start with emotion, justify with logic. Because when you think of it this way, when you invest emotionally, how has it gone? Personally, for me, investing emotionally has not gone very well, which is why I made the conscious decision about 6-7 months ago to go the logic route. And since then, I've done a hell of a lot better. And I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize. And I feel like you'd sort of be on the same sort of thought pattern. I feel like you thought of it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Then move back to that driving the feeling. There's one example, you know, this isn't about MDB, but we had a problem on our launch date. Now, we're 4.5 months into a bear market. We've performed fantastically well. The protocol is really robust. It's even healthier today than it was even, you know, at the start. But we had this issue on launch day, and I saw someone in a chat in the last couple of days say to somebody, "Oh yeah, but I got wrecked on launch because they got botted on launch." And I was thinking, because you know, I wasn't. Sometimes I can be snappy, but I was thinking, like, what chance does that individual have of making decent investment decisions if they're still emotionally tied, regardless of what we've done over the last 120 days, right? They're still obsessed with that one thing that happened that you can now do nothing about, and that's still driving their behavior. So if it's driving their behavior negatively now for 4 months on, it's probably conversely driving their attachment. You know, the emotions flipped over in another direction. They're probably driving attachments to something that every day is telling them to get out. But they're going, yeah, but there was a really good time 4 months ago, and I'm emotionally attached to that. So yeah, I think that I don't know how. I don't know how. You know, I think a lot of feedback I used to get early on in my career was about flexing my style, because I can be a bit of a tit sometimes, and yeah, you know, there's only so far you can flex sometimes. So I think, you know, there's many people that probably need the data. Some of the wealthiest people I know I've met in this industry, actually. So there is money here and in the industry, and so I think there's definitely an opportunity to do some good. But you know, whether people will use it or not, you know, you can only take the horse to water, right?
Oh, there's a lot of people sitting in the water, as you said. I mean, if you just a quick look through some of the old Sphere wallets from some of the old whitelist wallets, like there is, and I'm not joking, you know, 100,000 there, 80,000 there, 150,000 there. Like there is money around. And again, it's just with everything going on right now, it's cautious. It's being cautious what it puts its money into, especially with the UST and that whole pegging collapse. I mean, even stables. I mean, hell, I'm even reluctant to put and go stable farming right now, just because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, true. There is a lot of uncertainty right now in the space, especially in the fact, you know, it's bear market and so on. But the way that we like to say it here at Printer Financial, at least, and Atlas, I don't know if he's coined this phrase, but I've heard him say it several times. That's a bear market is a build market, and projects are going to be focusing
definitely
on
not my
that.
invention. So I can't take credit for that. That's a common statement, common knowledge.
Yeah. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit and to talk about some big picture events that we got coming up. So the ETH transition from proof of work to proof of stake, it's right around the corner, September 15th, and that's this week. From your guys' perspectives, what does this mean for the future of other L1 chains? Do you see ETH starting to, I guess, consolidate more and more projects start to go and build more on ETH, or is this not really as big of a deal as people make it seem?
I think it all depends on the gas fees, really. Like, what does it look like afterwards? Like I know a lot of projects, they do have the markets there, but that's kind of the whole purpose of these other side chains, to kind of help out with the gas fees. So I don't know. I'm really interested in that transition.
I feel like in order for people to consciously switch, they would have to be significantly cheaper than your Polygons and Avalanches and Binances and things like that. And unless you're not already actively looking to switch, I feel like it won't make a great deal of a difference. However, a lot of those Polygons and Avalanches, I feel like will get a good price pump as a result of ETH merging. But the thing is, I don't know how much you want to hold your breath with the merge, because hey, it's been delayed for 6 years. And every you know, I've been a miner for a while, and every time we get real close, you know, all my clients ask me, hey, are we going to merge soon? And it's like, yeah, we're going to soon. And it's been about, this is the 5th time they've asked me, and I'm starting to think, you know what, give it a couple months. So if it happens, it'll be great, and I think it'll be good. Deflationary is amazing, but it's that whole buy the buy the news, sell the rumor, or buy the rumor, sell the news. Sorry, that's what I mean. So we'll have to see, but I'd love to hear your guys' input on it.
I feel I feel that it may also bring a bit of centralization to it. So if they are able to move the proof of stake, that means they have enough big money in there to enforce that change. Is that going to be coming from these exchanges and different custodial wallets and things like that? Is that going to move more towards a centralization? I'm not sure. I don't feel that's a good thing though. That may be one of the negatives of it.
Well, it forces you to have your money in you know, Binance has offered to do ETH 2.0 staking. for high yields. So is that a blessing and a curse? You don't really know.
Well, you're also then giving up your, I guess, voting rights, your ownership in the entire network, and you're delegating that to these big exchanges.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not everyone has 30 ETH or whatever it is to get a node. So that's the downside.
And even with thousands of nodes, you're still going to see those big Binances where they have the customer base that they're going to hold an outside say on the chain.
Unfortunately, yeah, that'll be the case.
With the merge in mind as sort of people in projects, do you think this will sort of accelerate projects moving from the layer 2s onto ETH from here? Like, is this something people think about?
I think it's definitely. I agree with Atlas. I think it's it's a simple decision. I think many people have asked us because we're on Binance Smart Chain, and many people, people kind of like laugh and snigger because of sort of the moon boy side of BSC tokens. But in truth, I look at it through a business continuity perspective. And when we were starting out, you look across the chains, and at the time, Phantom was pumping. You had, AVAX was pumping. But in truth, in terms of established utility, nothing like you see with both BSC and Ethereum. And if had much lower fees, we probably would have built on Ethereum because it would have edged BSC. So I think, I think I genuinely, and I'm not an expert on the space. Most things I have a strong opinion on. I don't have a strong opinion on the merge. I'll be honest. But thinking about it from a business perspective, it's no surprise to me that Binance or BNB has outperformed BTC, and ETH has outperformed BTC. But I think, considering how disparate and decentralized crypto and DeFi is as a whole, and all of the utilities that sit around it, I think just with that simple change in terms of fees, I think it could be huge. And I think I genuinely feel like BTC, Bitcoin doesn't actually have that much utility. People say about mining, but that's that's mining something that only because it has sort of a common value between people. That is its, that's most of its true worth. Whereas I think ETH has, I think it could go absolutely crazy from a business perspective.
Now, you three are project leaders in this space, and Atlas has mentioned the gas fees. So I want to keep this one quick so we can move on to some other topics. But is there a certain limit or a certain threshold where if the ETH gas fees were to get below this price, you would consider building on Ethereum? Or is that not something that you're going to consider for a longer time? Especially now that since these projects now have cross-chain capabilities.
Yeah, I don't. To be fair, I haven't been keeping up. I think the last time I used ETH, the gas fees were like really high. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was like $40 or something for a transaction. It was certainly on the, probably I wasn't picking the right time, but I think if I look at, say, our NFT range, we've got 500 out. We've got another 300 about to launch. We've got a partner NFT program, which will add another 500. And then long term, we've got other plans around that side of our organization. So, we potentially have, there's an ecosystem already there. The strongest ecosystem around NFTs sits on ETH, but we're on BSC because it's a match with the rest of our protocol. And, I can't give a macro answer, but if I think you asked about us personally,
personally,
we would make it a top strategic priority if the gas fees were low to get our NFT collections cross chain.
We're in the same boat as Danny. We're also we're looking to see what happens, and then from there make a strategic decision. But of course, our NFT marketplace coming out this week is already on ETH. So we've already gone ahead and got it on ETH along with multiple other chains to sort of further and expand our capabilities there. So we've already prepared, but we could make further steps. And as you said, go cross chain, like you've seen a Sphere do, and really grab that liquidity from everywhere and truly be the kingpin of the business launch pads around. So, but again, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see if it goes ahead, and what genuinely the gas fees look like, because that will determine if people use it or not. And before we hop over, we want to make sure it's a viable option that everyone's happy with, because then we know there's going to be a good, healthy, and attractive market there.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the core ideas that we have is that the future is going to be cross-chain, and Atlas wanted to direct this question to you. Why is the future cross-chain? If you're talking right now, I don't think. Oh, you dropped.
Sorry, was that a question for me?
Oh no, I was asking Atlas about it. But yeah, you can go ahead. Atlas is. I'm gonna invite him back up on stage here. He's running
Why
off
do
of
I
his
think
phone.
the future's cross chain? Well, it's just
Yes.
I think, if you think back, it's every sort of forward thinking industry likes to think that they've invented everything, but having different standards happens across lots of different spaces, whether it's home entertainment, whether it's software, telecoms, right? There's many industries that have been through this process, and even when I think about, say, the electric vehicle charging industry, which I worked in and ran an organization, that was a massive startup space. Everybody was building things that were closed protocol. They didn't talk to each other. And then the consumer's stuck in this position where they've got to walk around with like 6 or 7 cards because they never know where they're going to try and charge, and it's on a different network. And that's typically how an immature system starts up, because it's very sort of like centered on yourself, and then as it scales, it needs to mature to be focused more on the consumer. And so that's why cross-chain is just an inevitability, that it needs to be fluid at some point.
Yeah, sorry about that. I guess I was having audio problems. Yeah, I agree with that. We have all this fragmentation, and also, like I said earlier, we do have unique features on all these different chains. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for something new to come out, something that doesn't necessarily follow the standards. But it is important that whatever that is also integrates nicely with the rest of the ecosystem. So that intercompatibility. But I think in this space we get to see, that sort of development, that sort of ingenuity, all of those new features come out so quickly because the space runs so quickly. So I'm also interested in seeing if that pace keeps up. But at the end of the day, yes, it definitely has to integrate into the greater whole, which is where I think the cross chain move really kind of fills that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think is. Oh no, sorry, you go.
Oh no, I was going to shift gears, but if you got something to say on this topic, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, just a little last piece. As Atlas just alluded to, what was it? Yeah, so a week in DeFi is really like a month in real life. Everything moves at such a fast pace. And I think, as Danny can attest to, with Fortune 500 companies, it's like Walmart only staying in North America. North America is ETH, and let's say Western Europe is BSC. But there's a whole wide world out there, right? So why just stay in Western Europe when you could go to Eastern Europe as AVAX, or even further right for Polygon, and then go to America for ETH? So, like a company, you really want to get your roots as many places as you can.
Yeah, 100%. I also like to think of it as the planet model where each blockchain is its own planet and they're all isolated. And it's hard to transfer value from one planet to another. But as the future starts to unfold, we're going to start seeing these planets come closer and closer together into one big, I believe, well tied unit where value is transferring seamlessly between each planet or each blockchain. Um, I did want to shift gears and to talk a little bit about both MDB and 100 days. The focus first on MDB and their ecosystem. There's a lot of bullish things happening over there where not financial advice, of course, but I just became a Millionaires Club member the other day. Pretty excited about that. So MDB has a few things on their immediate horizon, namely, Infinity and that NFT partnership with EMP. So I guess for those who might not know, and I know we touched about it in the beginning a tad, but if we want to start with Infinity, for those who don't know, what is it and how can people get involved?
Yeah, thank you, by the way. Thanks for joining the Millionaires Club. It's just about to hit 500 members, actually. So,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Next goal for you, VIP, which is getting really hard to join, obviously. But so what is Infinity? So, as I've described at the start of the call, Infinity has this underbelly of security backed by huge fund to liquidity pool ratio north of 20 to 1. But with that skinny LP brings volatility and low taxes brings opportunity to trade. But you've then got this converse where you've got 15% of supply is locked in NFTs. So they, the Infinity tokens, there's 5,000 Infinity tokens for each of the NFTs that cannot be liquidated into the LP. However, that means that NFT obviously can appreciate and develop its own sort of market value. And how you earn from that NFT is that it's actually auto staked, right at launch. But then you can also stake your Infinity tokens, and the Infinity Fund will not only invest in Infinity tokens and just burn everything. It won't accumulate any tokens whatsoever. Anything it buys, it will just get rid of. And it will also buy significant chunks of MDB to reward to stakers of Infinity. So whilst you've got this huge volatility type pump action on the trading side, you've also got this huge temptation just to stake your tokens. And in fact, to add more temptation, we've guaranteed that we will be paying out, it's 3 million MDB tokens. And as our chart continues to pump, that number's getting bigger and bigger. Right now, that means $36,000 of MDB is going to be pumped into the staking pool in the first 7 days. Now, remember, this is a token that will launch with only a 2 million market cap. So the APYs on the staking are going to be insane from the start. If there's huge incentives to lock up, that means that there's more scarcity, and then you've got a lot of buy pressure. Those things combined lend themselves to a significant sort of pump in terms of the value of the asset. There is something else as well, though. So our Phoenix Plus token, which has jumped from sort of 100k TVL about 10 days ago to about 1.3 million now, because that's the currency that people are going to buy the pre-sale in. That is going to drop really quickly. Now, when that drops, it means that the APY is going to accelerate really fast. And the reason that's really important is because the pair for Infinity is Phoenix Plus. So what that means is that 40% of the 5% taxes actually are being fed into the LP pair token, which means that that's an even, whilst it's hyper deflationary and it has this 20 to 1 fund ratio, it will also have this LP pair that can only appreciate in value. Remember, Phoenix Plus is a token that, if I look now, just to do a bit of shilling, is currently worth $1.25. It launched 7 weeks ago at $1. And once it appreciates, it cannot go backwards. It's mathematically impossible. It's not algo. It is hard mathematics in the contract. The BUSD that backs the supply is locked in the contract. So you imagine when that TVL drops down quickly, the volume pumps from Infinity. I think you're probably going to see 4-figure APY for a stable backed asset, probably something that's never been seen in the industry. But that is also the LP of Infinity. So you're just going to have the floor rise is coming both from the deflationary nature and also the fact that the LP itself should be growing sort of probably, you know, our estimate, not financial advice, is that just the LP itself on a like-for-like basis would probably times 10 over a year without the deflationary nature and more capital being fed into the LP.
Yeah, that's it's very, very awesome what you guys have got going on there. And I like that rising floor model. I haven't MDB is the first place where I've heard of this rising floor model.
I think there's been many other deflationary, you know, SafeMoon was actually, you know, there was a big deflationary type buzz of, you know, burning tokens and all of that. There was a lot of myths around that time though, like burning drives price when it doesn't. And and so burning something for the sake of burning it doesn't add value. However, in our system, if you think MDB is the master token, the idea of burning is that it means that there's less tickets to the game and the pot of gold is getting bigger. So we always say it's kind of like, imagine you're in a football stadium, the number of seats in the stadium are reducing, but the pot of gold on the pitch is getting bigger. And so the burn in our ecosystem is very true because it means, you know, we've burnt about 130 million tokens since launch. And that means there's 13% less tickets to the pot of gold than there were previously. So actually in our system, it's whilst there's always ponzonomics within an AMM and we've got this structure around it, which creates a floor and then protects at the top end. Actually, you want to be the last holder in MDB. Yes, so we're not, you know, we didn't invent deflationary. It felt like it, to be honest, when you come into an industry and everyone was sort of like, you know, off their heads on rebases and having to go into rehab and all sorts. But it's just about, you know, if you were a company and you had shares in your company and the revenue of the company was increasing and the number of shares in circulation was depreciating, then the share price of that company would grow, right, exponentially over time. And that's our system.
Maybe it's make deflationary better, not make DeFi better.
Yeah, we've made some mistakes as well, you know, like I'm a career salesperson, so I talk a good game, but you know, we've made some mistakes. I think the important thing is that we learn from them, and we'll make more mistakes in the future, but we'll definitely learn from those as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's very awesome. I'm very excited for you know, this upcoming week with you guys to see how everything unfolds. Now want to shift gears again to talk about 100 Days and some of the stuff that they got going on. You know, they have NFT marketplace that's soon going to be released. Will, if you want to touch on that, and then I got another interesting question for you.
Yeah. So, as you all know, we partnered with Little Orbit, a AAA gaming company, really big in the space, and they have got a game, Ships That Fight Underground, coming out very soon. And with that, we developed an NFT marketplace, which they'll sell these pilot license on, and we'll collect 30% of the revenue. And with 21 active million users, you know, if you do some simple maths, the numbers look pretty good. So that NFT marketplace is looking to come out next week sometime. And with that, it will launch in tandem with Little Orbit, providing us a great deal of revenue. However, with that NFT marketplace, which will launch with Little Orbit, it will also be an NFT marketplace for other crypto projects in the space to launch their NFTs on. So at the moment, we have Sphere's NFTs being listed on that, and we've got a few other projects also listing with us in the coming weeks, and we're always on the horizon looking for new projects. So that is our NFT marketplace at the moment. It is very exciting, and it will be our first source of revenue.
Fantastic. So that game, STFU, that's so funny, that abbreviation. So that's coming out next week as well with the NFT marketplace. Is that right?
Yes. So I believe the game goes live in on a podcast with John Cole and another huge NFT collaborator. So, as a team, we're getting a lot of things done right now, and we're really truly starting to get in motion and find our step. I hope that answers the question. We kind of veered off track at the end.
Awesome. That's all good. All right, so we're coming towards the end of the show. We want to do a few rapid fire questions just to see where you stand on a few topics. So I'm just going to shoot them off, and if you guys just fire away. All right, Windows, Mac, or Linux?
Windows.
Windows.
Yes.
Atlas.
We're friends now, Danny.
I'm not sure it tells you a lot about me other than I like what I know.
Hey, as long as you don't say Liverpool, we'll be all right.
All right, we'll go to the next one.
Hold on a second. I know that Atlas. He's going to need to weigh in on this. He just dropped. He's right back.
He
Atlas, are you here?
deal with that
I'm here. Sorry.
He didn't want to deal with the shenanigans or Windows.
Yeah, too controversial.
Yeah, Linux, of course.
Of course.
All right, mobile or desktop?
Desktop.
Yeah.
An easy answer.
We're still waiting on Danny there.
Can you not
No,
hear me?
I think he said desktop.
Yeah,
okay.
Nah, he did.
Because we sound like we're just parroting each other.
Yeah.
All right, BTC or ETH?
ETH.
BTC.
Nostalgia.
Atlas.
ETH. Yes. I think we're double talking over each other.
Okay. All right.
In
chain.
that case, let's do Atlas, Will, and then Danny.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
All right. Next one. Favorite chain.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna go Phantom.
Avalanche.
My favorite chain itself is actually Polygon. I think it's got a lot of work to do before it's it just from a business perspective, it's just much more immature than say ETH or BSC. But if I think about purely just from a chain perspective, it would be Matic.
Nice. Okay, audiobooks or physical?
Physical.
Audiobooks.
Physical.
City or countryside?
What was that?
City or countryside? We're moving slightly away from the crypto-based stuff now.
I don't get it.
Would you rather
where we live?
To be in the country.
Would you rather crypto from the
city
or countryside?
Okay, countryside.
City.
Country all day.
Yes, country all day.
Ocean or mountains?
Mountain.
Ocean.
Mountain. Don't trust anything that can't walk.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Oh, coffee, 100%.
Coffee.
All right. I know.
You hesitated. Danny. You almost said.
I'm surprised that even in today's world, it's even an option. I think maybe you were expecting because I'm British. I was going to say tea.
To be honest, I really was expecting that. I was expecting tea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a myth. I think it's like coffee is like 10 times the amount of tea drunk in the UK. It's a myth. We were only interested in tea when we could make money off it.
Cletus and I are both not regular coffee drinkers, so we'll leave that on the table.
Yeah, so very controversial opinion here. Personally, I do not drink coffee. I think it tastes like liquid dirt. So all you guys can hate on me now.
Mm.
I've now exposed myself as the phony up here. So
Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, waffles. Yes, waffles.
Pancakes. Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Chocolate. Oh,
I've
sorry.
achieved, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, pancakes. I've achieved. You guys in the US, you have small pancakes. We have big, really flat pancakes, and we have something called Pancake Tuesday. And I've actually achieved a quadruple flip in one move. So yeah, I'm
Pancake
quite-
Tuesday. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's Shrove Tuesday. It's a religious thing, but it's it's the end of Lent.
It's a religious thing.
Yeah, it is. It's meant to be the start. I think is it the start of Lent or the end of it? You can tell. Obviously, I go to church a lot, and you get all your flowers and egg, and the idea is you're meant to use up everything that was in the cupboard. It's but basically people just use it as an excuse to eat a lot of pancakes.
Yeah, pancakes are agnostic as far
Hallelujah.
as I was concerned.
Oh man.
Yeah,
All right.
we basically take any religious holiday and just make it about gorging on food. So Easter is just about eating lots of chocolate.
All right. Chocolate
Wow.
or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Oh, vanilla's the devil. Chocolate.
Ooh, there we go.
gasp.
That's it. I felt like Kathy Bates from The Waterboy then.
As long as you can make money off the coca beans, and it's all good. And the last one. What are your opinions on espresso tonic?
Shouldn't exist.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds not good. If it's anything like tonic water, coffee added to it, it's just got to be a nightmare.
Is it cold coffee? Is that what that is?
I'm not sure. This one's a Cletus edition.
Well, I got this one from Atlas. Atlas was telling me about some weird drink. So Atlas, you can go ahead and I don't know what it is.
Sure. Yeah, it's a shot of espresso, topped off with sparkling water with a lemon. Disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds horrendous.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch me having that. Get me a hot coffee, call it a day.
It sounds like it shocks the soul. It's one of those soul shockers.
Oh yeah.
So perfect, guys. Well, wanted to say, I guess, thank you for everyone thank you everyone that's came out today. We do have a giveaway that would like to announce. Just did the giveaway draw, and this person's display name is Sparvio GM or Suite number 11. This is official Discord screen name. So if you're with us in the crowd today, congratulations. You won 50 ink on the chain of your choice. So come either DM me or message us in our general chat, and we'll be sure to give that away to you. And if you're not on the call, I'll just reach out and we can arrange something. So I guess to conclude, big thanks to everybody for coming out today. I think this was an amazing time. We covered a lot of topics. I think that we could go on for a lot more, but in reference to everyone's time, we'll cut it here, and then maybe we can have you guys on in a future cross-chain chat. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we just hit a new all-time high whilst this was on. So that's you guys are good luck.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Love to hear it.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
Cheers, guys.
Been a good chat.
yes.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Sweet.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, very, very cool. And thanks again to our audience. I think that was a lot of fun. So
All
let
right.
me
Thanks,
go and
everyone.
close out the recording bot.